Remember Afghanistan, Joe Biden? They brought him home because of his stupidity. Had dead military personnel. He was like looking at his watch because he had somewhere to be. Y'all remember that? This dude is a total disgrace. I mean, just absolutely repulsive. They didn't care about the Americans that they left in Afghanistan. Do you truly believe that they care about the Americans that they're leaving in the Gaza Strip with these Hamas Palestinian terrorists? Do you truly believe that they even care? I mean, really? They said, well, maybe you shouldn't have been there. You're this SOL. See, President Trump, this is something that I believe President Trump would do had President Trump been in this position. President Trump would have been like, look, BB, Benjamin Netanyahu, Israel, stand by real quick. We know what just happened to you. You're going to get your say-so here in a minute, but give us a minute. We're going to go in here and we're going to get the Americans out. So then that way you can come in and just do whatever it is you need to do to get rid of the cockroach problem. This is what I believe President Trump would do, but nonetheless, this is what Will Johnson would do. Look, Israel, just step aside for just a second. Just give us a minute here. Go ahead. We're gonna go in here and handle some of this real quick. We're going to clear the pathway for you. I would take the Marines and I would just bombard Gaza like no tomorrow, and then say to the rest of the world, what you going to do? This is not Israel doing this. This is us doing this because they're holding our hostages. They're holding our Americans. This is what I would do. And I would say, do something. I dare you to do something. You know that they're holding them. We're going in and get them. If they shoot back at us, we're going to wipe them out. This is what I would do. Now, I'm not a violent person, but dadgummit, you got cockroach problem. You got to fix it. You got to fix it. But Joe Biden, he's asking Benjamin Netanyahu in Israel, oh, don't do it. Hold off. Don't do it. Hold off. Don't do it. If I'm telling y'all, if I came to your neighborhood, and not just me, just anybody, someone came to your neighborhood and they're constantly reaping havoc in your next to your house, throwing rocks to your windows, et cetera, and they end up killing your family members, what are you going to do? And the police officers come and say, yeah, we saw that this happened. There's not much we can do about it right now. We know it. You got it all on camera. We saw them kill your loved member. But we want you to, hold back. We're just going to assess the situation. But we just need you to hold back. But are you going to do anything? No. We're just going to look at it. We're just going to see what's going on. You're going to be like, no, they took my family member. They need to be dealt with. And then they're constantly doing it while you're sitting there saying, up, hold back, hold back. While they're sitting there saying, hold back, they're still trying to kill your family members. This is what's happening right now. Well, listen to Kirby as he's asked about the Americans that are being held hostage in the Gaza Strip. My response again is like, they have 24 hours. 24 hours. If they don't release them in 24 hours, they're going to see something that they didn't expect. They have 24 hours to make sure every single person that is held hostage is released. If they're not released, guess what's going to happen? So you can't play around with them. You have to show these evil people force. That's the only thing they understand. Being kind to them is not something they understand.
Talk a lot about the hostages. There are several hundred American citizens that are currently in Gaza.
Yeah.
To the point made by Sammy there, what is the disconnect right now? When will they be allowed out?
I wish I could tell you date certain, time certain. We want to get them out. We want to make sure that they have safe passage out. And we are working very, very hard, both with the Israelis and with the Egyptians, to get to that outcome. Right now, of course, you've seen some humanitarian assistance flow in, but we have not forgotten the plight of those hundreds of Americans that are on the other side of that Rafah crossing. We know they want to get home or get out, and we want to help them get out. And we are working on that very, very hard.
You've been
for some reason, I have a problem trusting anything that he's saying, that we're working really, really, really hard to get him out. For some reason, I'm not buying that. I'm not buying it. They could literally put sanctions on these other nations that we've been giving billions of dollars to, these other nations surrounding them and saying, look, you got to open your doors to take these people out right now. We need your assistance, or we're going to put sanctions on you, or we're going to remove the money that we're giving you. See, as soon as you start talking about money with these other nations, I can care less what their religious belief is, their political belief. As soon as you start talking money, people start acting up. They start acting straight. Same thing happened on our southern border with Mexico. President Trump said, okay, I'm going to put sanctions. We're going to start cutting off the money. Soon as President Trump started cutting off the money, guess what happened? All of that traffic started dying down because money talk. They can care less about anything else. They want money and power.
On that
let me just say this. Oh, go ahead.
Very hard.
It's about over.
For several days now, they have oftentimes gotten messages about specific windows when they could leave that fell apart. Is there any sense that working will end up with an outcome soon?
That's what we're working towards, Phil. I wish I could tell you for sure, but this is hard stuff.
Really? I wish I could tell you for sure. Well, what about Afghanistan? Well, that's what Afghanistan went off as it was supposed to be, as it intended. We need Americans to die. They want Americans to die here. This administration, they do not care about the well-being of American citizens, no matter where they are. Right here in the United States of America, they don't care. You think that they're going to care if they're in Afghanistan or Israel or even Russia or Ukraine? Then they don't care. They don't care. They want chaos. The left, the Democrat Party in the United States of America, again, they are the party of death. The party of death. What are you going to say, Shannon?
Yeah, and also pay attention to the failed efforts we had of getting people out of Afghanistan, which there's still Americans there that are stuck. But listen to this, Will. We know they released 2 Americans earlier. Well, today, Hamas released 2 more captives. They're saying there's an article in the Wall Street Journal. I can't show it because I'm not going to pay for a prescription for this news outlet. But it says Hamas set free 2 more civilian hostages on Monday, but negotiations over a possible release of 50 captives stumble over the militant group demand that Israel allow fuel deliveries. So they're having a hard time getting fuel. So part of the strategy of Israel is to cut off what they need, right? Food, water, fuel, all of that stuff. But now it's a stumbling block for getting hostages out.
You know what I think part of it is? I think they're using these hostages to push back and to prolong the attack that 100%. Israel needs to do. I mean, think about it. So, like, as soon as they gear up, okay, release a couple more. And they're like, okay, well, they're going to release a couple more. At some point, Israel's going to have to say, we can't wait for them to release 2 and then release 2 and then release 2 a week, 2 every other day. We can't, at some point, they're going to have to go, okay, we just need to go in. We're not going to allow you to determine or dictate when we can come in and get rid of the cockroach problem. They cannot allow that to happen. Talking about another cockroach, look at this cockroach, Ilhan Omar. She's out here in the press conference with Presley, and the reporter, which you can't hear that well, the reporter's asking the question about the babies that are being decapitated, talking about the women, the innocent men and women and children that were killed by Hamas. That's the question here. Will you condemn Hamas? Will you condemn the killing of innocent Israelites? Let me remind everybody again, who shot off the thousands of rockets at who? Who shot off the 1,000 rockets at who? They were shooting thousands of rockets at Israel, end up killing people. They did a full assault on Israel, killing over 1,600 Israelis. 1,600 Israelis. Israel, all they did was shoot rockets to take the rockets out of the sky. But then they had to bomb the locations where they're shooting the rockets from. And as soon as they do that, every single time, they make sure that children, women and children are there in harm's way so they can prance them all over the camera and say, look what Israel did. People are completely stupid that falls for that. Listen to Ilhan Omar as she's getting upset about the question about Hamas and whether they condemn them.
A question from anyone else?
Okay, it's really hard to hear the reporter, but the reporter was saying, why don't you want the Israeli to go after the Hamas terrorist group?
That burned children alive.
That burnt children alive, that killed women and children. Mm-hmm. Why don't you want them to go after them? Right? You would think if the Palestinian, so-called Palestinian people actually wanted to get rid of the cockroach problem, they should come out and do this. Let me give you something. Here's a no-brainer. We're Palestinian people. We're calling on the Israelis to team up with us to get rid of this cockroach problem. Hey, that's a no-brainer. If they have a problem with these people actually killing people, because these Hamas Palestinian people, they kill other Palestinian people. It's kind of like Chicago killing black people. It really is. But they don't have a problem with that. They want Hamas to continue to kill Israelites. Now listen to Ilhan Omar as she's upset about that question.
How many more killings is enough for you? Is it 1,000 more? 2,000 more? 3,000 more? How many more Palestinians would make you happy if they died? Will you be fine if all of the people of Gaza were gone? Would that make you happy? Would that be the thing that makes you proud? And maybe that's the question you should ask Richie. Is he okay? How many more Palestinian lives is he comfortable with? Because I'm not comfortable with any more.
And then she walks off. Because I'm not comfortable with any more. Well, what about the Israelis that you're constantly killing? Apparently she's comfortable with that. She's comfortable with all the deaths of Israelis dying. They're all comfortable with that. Why is that a comfortable thing to say? Why is that comfortable? How come not a single time has she come out and said, look, we feel and we have prayers for the innocent Israelis. But see, to them, not a single man, woman, or child that is Jewish is innocent to them. Not a single one. They keep saying that the Israelites, they're the occupiers. And then they keep bringing up 1948. They keep bringing that up. See, they keep going, oh, look, we have documentation talking about Palestine until 1948, until the Israelites came in and just took it over. But they keep leaving out the fact of what year Moses left Egypt. And who did Moses take with him out of Egypt? Can someone answer that for me? This is a trivial question. Moses left Egypt. I'm not going to ask y'all what year because no one knows the exact year, but they got roundabout times, right? The year's not important. Other than we know it was a long, long time ago before anybody was alive today. And we already established that. And before Jesus was even born, we know Moses was in Egypt before Jesus was born. So my question is a simple question. Who did Moses take out of Egypt? And where did Moses take him to? That's the bonus question. Where did he take him to? Right? I see people already getting the answer. Moses left Egypt. Some say it was like 1500 BC. 1500 BC before Christ. He led the Israelites out of Egypt to where? The promised land, where they currently reside, even though Moses never made it to the promised land. Did y'all know that? Did you know that, Shannon? Moses never actually made it to the promised land. They wandered the wilderness for 40 years. And then after he passed on, the Israelites finally made it to the promised land. Did you know that?
Yeah.
A lot of people didn't know that. But where they currently reside is the same place Jesus showed up, Jerusalem, Israel. They've all known it to be Israel. Then the Romans tried to change it to Palestine, but it's still Israel. Regardless of what the Romans tried to do, it is still Israel. It's Israel today. Even the United Nations, that is truly, my personal opinion, is anti-Israel because the United Nations is anti-God. They acknowledge Israel's existence, but they don't acknowledge Palestine. I encourage everyone to go look that up. They keep saying free, free Palestine. There is no such place as Palestine. There is no Palestine. Even the United Nations don't even recognize a Palestine because it doesn't exist.
You like the content Will Johnson is producing? To stay informed and up to date with the current events, go ahead and hit the thumbs up and subscribe to see more videos like this one. Also, to find Will Johnson, visit www.uaf.media.